Hey guys, we are live. This is Jennifer from the Shooter's Mindset with episode 346. Got our co-host tonight, Greg Cannon. How's it going?
Hey everyone.
And our guests of the hour, we have Tyler Payne and Scott Peterson from the AMU. Going to talk a little bit of shooting, a little bit of AMU, kind of a little bit of everything. Ask all your questions about the Army Marksmanship unit and what you want to know about it. Ask them in the comments and we'll ask them live most of the questions, unless it's too out there. So Scott, let's start with you. For anybody that's unfamiliar with you, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into shooting and how you ended up in the AMU.
Hello, I'm Scott Peterson. I grew up in the South in Alabama, just outside of Mobile. Been hunting since, I can remember, mostly like doves, squirrels, a little bit of deer, stuff like that. Great grandfather got me into the Alabama State Games. I think I was probably 11 or 12 years old, just shooting an air rifle that I'd never shot, some fancy, I think, at the time it was probably an on shoots or something, but I'd never heard of one. And a little bit of 22 stuff. Well, at the time, the only 22 I had was a Rossi 22 pump. And I was going up against like mostly girls in a 4-H club. And needless to say, they had some tricked out 1022s and they smoked me, and I got really angry. And I cut a bunch of grass and finally bought me a 1022, came back next year and whooped up on them. And as soon as I won a little Alabama gold medal, I quit shooting until like 2011, as far as the military is concerned.
So solely just to beat the girls, you just
after I got embarrassed. Yeah, after I got embarrassed, I had to come back and establish dominance and then leave when I was on top. So I joined the Marine Corps in 2004, and just kind of naturally was, I guess, a little bit better with a rifle. Had never really shot pistols. Found out I worked at the range in Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii. Ended up running the pistol range, and I had to qualify with a pistol to do that. So the couple guys that were there that were former Marine Corps shooting team members transferred to the AMU, and then left the AMU and went to shoot for the Army Reserve. One being an Olympic pistol shooter, made fun of me in a lot of choice words, and wouldn't let me shoot a pistol again for about 2 months. All they had me do was dry fire on the wall. So the next time I came back out, I set the range record. And after shooting 20 shots and maybe 3 hit the target. So that after that, somebody was like, hey, you ever thought about competing? I got to hear about some matches that the Marine Corps holds, called the division matches, and shot there in Hawaii in the Pacific Division, and kind of did good. Got invited to come out East Coast and shoot the Marine Corps championship matches. After that, I did well, and I got invited to shoot for the Marine Corps, and did that for a while. Decided I want to further my career in shooting, as things were dying down in the military as far as overseas, and reached out, talked to some of the guys at AMU, Emil Praslick, Brandon Green, a few of those, and they were like, yeah, we'd love to have you. So I transitioned over and came to the Army Marksmanship unit in 2016, and a member of the service rifle team. So primarily got involved with service rifle, cross course high power, the CMP NRA stuff, Camp Perry national matches, shot a bit of Palma and F class as well. So a lot of sling shooting, a lot of sweating in a sweatshirt with a canvas jacket on. And did that. PRS kind of came about randomly while I was down in Alabama. I met some guys, Brian Sykes and Josh Mann over at the time Corps. And I got hooked up with them, shot my first match, was humbled again by a few plumbers and stuff like that I thought I knew what I was doing, and got hooked, and then did everything I could to start shooting on my own, and eventually got moved teams and became Tyler's partner, and then been traveling around with him, and he's been putting up with me, shooting some gas gun stuff and some bolt gun stuff on top of it, between the PRS and the NRL. So it's been real exciting last 2 years. Been able to do that, and I look forward to continue doing it until I retire in the next 3 years.
So Tyler, how did you, for anybody unfamiliar with you, how did you get here, and how did you end up with the unfortunate fate of being Scott's partner?
Yeah, so I grew up in Princeton, Minnesota. Kind of how I got into shooting. My dad was in law enforcement. He was the firearms instructor for the area. So I would go with him on the weekends and, shoot with all the cops and stuff. And I ended up being decent at it. So we started getting into three gun. He kind of heard about this new sport called three gun that sounded fun. So we went and shot, and kind of like Scott, got humbled and kind of angry. So we decided to get better. And then we just continued to shoot. We had a lot of really good shooters up in the area that kind of mentored us along. And then from the three gun, I was hired on from a local match to the AMU. So I came straight from being a civilian to the Army Marksmanship unit because of my shooting. And yeah, that's how I came in.
That's awesome. And then you just drew the short straw.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we've been looking for other people, but he was available.
Poor Scott. We give him a hard time. So what made you do what?
I'm used to it.
You're used to it. So what made you transition from three gun over to precision, Tyler?
I've always kind of had a thing for like snipers and stuff like that. Like I read a lot of books about snipers growing up, and that was always kind of my thing. Like watch the international sniper competition on the History Channel, and I always dreamed of being in a position to be able to compete in that. And then my partner at the time, Daniel Horner, and I got to compete in it twice, and we ended up winning it both times. That got us a slot to USASOC, and we went and won that. We shot a bunch of mammoth sniper competitions and won those, and it was just kind of a natural progression. I'd been shooting three gun for right around 15 years when I started to venture into the PRS or the long range game, and it was just something new and exciting, and I've really enjoyed it and been trying to learn as much as I can, but I guess that's about it.
So Greg, do you have a live comment? Unmute.
I'm unmuted, actually. I was just laughing to myself. Nick Laufenberg said, "Don't be mean to Scott. He gives the best back rubs."
I was on the phone with him earlier, and he was telling me how bad my vision is, and my binos work fine. Something like that, yeah.
That's awesome. I owe you an email, Nick. I got crazy at work and I didn't send it, but I'm going to send the email. I just have been forgetting, but you're on my list.
Let's see. Ken Wheeler said, "Look at these two. Good to see you guys." Tyler Eric wants to know if you've been hunting lately.
Yep, I actually went out this afternoon. Had to call it early, come out here and do this.
So what he's saying is we're cutting into his hunting time.
It's true, but I go on leave on Thursday, so I'll have plenty of time.
Nice.
Any other comments for now?
Eric said, "Short straw, Jennifer. Are you saying that Scott's vertically challenged?"
That's not what I meant. I wasn't being ugly.
And then Nick just called you Jen the Destroyer.
Who did?
Nick. And then Hay said, "Be mean to Scott. He needs humble continuously."
How did I know Hay and Lundberg and even Wheeler would be watching this?
No, they always watch and comment appropriately.
Mm-hmm. So Rudy wants to know, what does your guys' practice and training routine look like for PRS?
You want to take this one, Scott?
COVID, pre-COVID, COVID, or post? Well, not even post-COVID. So we've had a few different, I'd say 3 different methods in the last 18 months of training. Before the COVID kicked off, we dabbled a lot of 100-yard training. Right outside of our office, we have 10 bays. Most of them being 25 and 50-yard bays. We have one 150-yard bay. So on that bay, we've got a couple basically target stands set up, and we would shoot anything from just pasters on a white backer, like white pasters. We would use shooting C's and things like that. And I picked up a lot of this from Tyler, just going over the barricades and trying to hold, initially for me was the 3-inch shooting stick on a barricade, so 3 of them away. But the goal was to be able to score those. So each of those shooting seats has typically like 8, 9, and 10 scoring rings. The goal, to shoot like say the PRS skills stage or something like that, or just single shot drills, establishing a position on a tripod or as rear support, things like that, and maintain the 10 ring, so 1 inch. We had some time drills as well where Tyler would set up a couple, like 5 rows of 5 pasters, and we would shoot those for different time standards, like 45, 35, or 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 15, so on and so forth, and try to maintain accuracy of that. And then we started shooting on some property out in town, out to about 900, where we would basically work 1-shot drills. We would come up with stages, and instead of just burning a bunch of rounds, shooting 2 or 3 shots at each target or whatever, we would just pick, 4 targets, 4 positions, and shoot 1 shot at each, and then back up and do it again. And building those reps, I think, really helps us. I know it helps me. I've learned a lot from Tyler by doing a lot of those 1-shot drills, as I call it, because I would rather do 10 reps, 1 shot each, versus just 1 rep of 10 shots. It saves ammunition, as well as, building those reps at 10,000 hours, 10,000 repetitions to make it permanent. And then just trying to put pressure on each other. We, especially early on, before kind of sitting at home for 2 months last year, we would kind of compete against each other while we were doing that. We would always kind of keep score a little bit and make it fun, and maybe buy some, the winner would, or the loser would have to buy beer, the next time we were doing something, stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of what we did. We would check 0 and then move right into drills and stuff. We weren't so focused on collecting chronograph data and all this stuff. We just focused on the shooting, analyzing what we did. We watched each other, we recorded each other, and went from there.
Is this, I might be wrong, is that yours, Tyler? So I ran across this about 2 months ago in a precision training. It was a post from like 3 or 4 years ago. And I was like, that's really a good drill. And so I like screenshotted it. And when you were just talking about the pasters and the 3-inch, I was like, wait, I think I have a picture of that.
To give credit where credit's due, I got that from Spencer Berry down at Altus.
It's a very good, I screenshotted like what each row was, should be, and was like, that's a really good idea. So I'm going to do that when I get back to the range, because I thought it was a great training. Each row, it looked like kind of different things. Some were speed, some were trigger control,
Yeah, it's a humbling drill.
That's awesome. That's a great way to be, kind of, get the most out of your training time. Thinking about it, like everybody loves to, go through those 10 rounds as fast as you can and, see what it'd be like in a real match. But I feel like building that position again and again and again and again and again gives you 10 times the training for every mag that you go through.
Yeah, it definitely helps. I came, from shooting slow and methodical with a sling and all this stuff to, where we had 20 minutes to shoot 20 rounds to needing to shoot anywhere from 8 to 14 or so rounds, in 90 seconds or 120 seconds. And just watching Tyler, the way he moves and how efficient he is in footwork and just movement in general, setting up the gun, watching some of our USPSA shooters, shooting pistol, watch how they enter and exit positions, 3-gun as well, how do they set up on a barricade, what knee is up, why is that knee up, just asking a bunch of questions. And it took me, I'd say, just within just a few months, I think I cut a lot of my times in half, where it might have taken me 80, 90 seconds to shoot a 120 second stage. I could do it efficiently in half that, 40 or 50 seconds. And then I kind of focused on the PRS skill stage a little bit and was able to take a few of those home. But then now I'm working on just getting 8s everywhere, or 10 out of 10 everywhere, instead of just getting it on the skill stage in 30 seconds.
I bet y'all were the yin and yang. You came from F class and very slow shooting, and Tyler is the speed demon. And 3-gun and gas gun, and even with a bolt gun. But in those others, you definitely have always been known for your speed. You're just fast. So I bet y'all do y'all average each other out? Like, do you slow him down and do you speed him up? Do y'all kind of?
I think Scott just got faster, and and told me to aim a little bit better.
Aim a little bit better. Words of wisdom there. So a lot of us know like of the AMU, and like we see you guys at the matches on the weekends, you know, kicking butt and everything, but we don't know a whole lot about like the history of the AMU. When and why was AMU formed, and kind of how did it evolve over time?
So the kind of down and dirty of it is in 1956, President Eisenhower kind of got tired of getting beat up by the Russians, or Soviet Union in the Olympics, and established the Army Marksmanship Unit, basically to take place in the 1964 Olympics, and win and crush the Soviet Union. I think it was in '64 that the U.S. took home 7 shooting medals. 6 of them came from the Army Marksmanship Unit. And then from there, it kind of, you know, looking at back at Vietnam and things like that, the AMU had established the first sniper school, was doing in-country and calling it sniper instruction, you know, training people up, taking the things that they learned from both combat and competition and kind of intermingling those together. And since then, they've kind of broken it down, you know, over other teams throughout the unit that both compete and instruct, do demos and things like that. So, but initially it started, you know, just to kick the crap out of the Soviet Union.
I like it. That's always a good thing, kick the crap out of the Soviet. So within the AMU, there's different teams, right?
Yep.
Like what are the teams, and like what's the purpose of each of them?
So we've got 5 teams. I had to think about it for a second. We've got 5 teams within AMU. We have us, the action shooting team. So that comprises of USPSA, pistol, 3-gun, and our precision rifle team. So Tyler and myself, we compete, you know, in the precision rifle series, NRL. We've shot a bit of gas gun in the quantified performance series, which is kind of similar to what the PRS gas gun series is. And we're looking at, you know, even branching out in some other matches as well. Maybe the Mammoth, what Steel Safari / Vortex sniper comps and things like that. And then the other teams, we have a international shotgun team. They do trap and skeet. We have Olympians. Actually, Lieutenant Amber English just came back with a gold medal this year in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. We have the international rifle team that competes in small bore and air rifle, so 3-position, 4-position, 50-meter prone, things like that. We've got gold medalist Olympians in there as well. We have a service pistol team that competes in action sport like Bianchi pistol for action Bianchi sport there, as well as service pistols, so one-armed, you know, NRA CMP style, yeah, sitting out there just shooting slow fire, shooting some rapid fire and time fire. And I've dabbled that in a little bit as well. Shot a summer out there, and it was a grueling, arduous process, but I learned a lot about trigger control. And then we have the service rifle team that competes across the course service rifle, NRA CMP stuff, as well as full bore, or PALMA in the US it's called. And that's that's pretty much the only international sport that they do is the World Full Bore Championships. And then that's it. We also have an instructor training group that goes out and takes what we learn, and also they're competitors as well in their own time, take what they learn in competition, what we learn in competition, combine that with some Army doctrine and different schools that they go to, both civilian and military, and take that back to the force. And from everything from conventional forces, it could be cooks and motor T drivers, to infantry, to snipers, all the way out to special forces units and stuff like that. So it's a pretty cool place to be.
There's a lot of questions in the comments for you, Scott. And
Oh man.
So Tyler free recoils a 69-pound rifle. What you
Yep.
gotta say for that?
I think heavy guns are dumb. I hate them.
And so is free recall.
Yeah.
Eric says you can't handle the recoil.
No, sure can't.
Eric also asked, did you find your barrel yet? Or are you waiting till December?
That one's for you, Scott. You're looking for that.
Oh, yeah. That is. No, I got a barrel and I got it broke in. So make sure you call all those impacts at Mammoth for me here. I don't know why you're talking about people that are shooting matches, because no one's seen you shoot in like 9 years. You just sit behind glass.
Say, I've never once seen him shoot. So like on y'all's team, the action shoot, like how many people are on that team? And is it like just shooters, or do you guys have like pit crew, coaches, and all that other stuff too?
I'll let Tyler answer this one since I've done all the talking.
No, we got, hold on. It's going to take me a minute. I think we got nine shooters, right? Or 9 people on our team. And we're all shooters, all different disciplines. We try to cross train as much as possible. So if we go and teach anyone, we don't sound ignorant while we're teaching somebody else's area of expertise, as well as, just it's good for us to be well-rounded. And with a pit crew, we have a customs firearm shop, and they handle everything from building guns from the ground up to loading ammo. So if we need something, we got the best support in the world.
That is awesome.
I want to have my own little support system. I want a pit crew.
It's not.
It'd be nice to not have to load ammo.
Shoot factory.
Yeah, I mean, to go on that, not just the competition teams, but we have like Tyler said, a custom firearms shop. We have full-time machinists, several civilians, several soldiers. Most of the civilians are actually retired soldiers as well that did it as a career, or even maybe served a few years at the AMU and were shooters and learned the trade. We also have gunsmiths, dedicated gunsmiths that went out to different schools or either come from different branches as a gunsmith and were hired. Ben Gossett, great PRS shooter, is one of our gunsmiths, phenomenal gunsmith. So that's pretty cool to have a shooter that understands kind of the lingo maybe we would use, and also the lingo that the gunsmiths would use. Years ago, I couldn't tell you what a hammer and sear did, and I just like made motions, and the gunsmith looked at me funny. But now I've got a shooter gunsmith, and he's just like, yeah, I got you. And then we have full of support. I mean, we have the standard support of different S shops in the military for support, as well as a full ammo loading section headed by another PR shooter, Troy Lawton. And so he's our chief ballistician, and he has a few other guys, civilians, that work with him, and they load all of our ammo on phenomenal machines and get us down in those single digits. And we couldn't be more blessed to have amazing guns and amazing ammunition.
So what's your Monday through Friday like? Like, I mean, all of us go to jobs like during the week, and then we like cram until midnight the night before loading our ammo, and then like rush to the match and get there and have to zero and get ready. So like, this is your job. So it's like, everybody's like, I wish it was my job like that. So what does your like typical work week look like?
Well, mine's changed recently. So I could say Tyler's and mine differs. I took over the team as the non-commissioned officer in charge about 3 months ago. So I went from, Tyler and I hanging out, doing some training, maybe half a day, and kind of talking about it the rest of the half a day, and to, doing budgets and scheduling, and, Tyler asking me, hey boss, can I go shoot? And I'm like, yeah, just win, and stuff like that. So, but yeah, like we kind of like I said earlier with training, we would, usually hit it early in the morning, especially in the summer when it's cooler. Train for 4 or 5 hours a day. We may only shoot 100 rounds. We could shoot 300, who knows, or less. But we really just focus on setting up some stages, kind of shooting some drills, going through them, talking to each other about what we saw, keeping each other on track. If I'm talking while I'm shooting or something, like, oh man, that sucked or something, he's there to be like, shut up, man. Stop talking, keep shooting, stuff like that. So, but we do a lot of training as well, kind of like the instructor training group I said does, training different people throughout the force. And every now and then we get to come out to a match and converse with everybody and have some fun.
Yeah, people always ask us what our 9 to 5 is, but it changes so often because we have so many different tasks. Like we're in the Army Marksmanship unit, but we're still in the Army. So we still have all our normal Army stuff that we have to do, but it's different every week. Every month is different than the last month. So it's really hard to just nail it down to what we do every day.
For some reason, I could always picture you guys like in a kindergarten classroom, like, "Hey guys, we're here to talk about gun safety."
Kindergarten classroom, yes. No, but there's no like nap time mats or anything out there. So.
I'll never forget like my very first, I call it my very first big girl match, because I'd shot the gap grind, but I went to LRSC, shot terrible. It was like I didn't know which end the gun fired, but I'll never forget, I was like down there, I didn't know what I was doing at all. Had gotten a long range gun and was just kind of muddling through, and I laid down at the 0 range, and I was like struggling with the data and not knowing if I was, I just wasn't confident in it. And Tyler, you were there and you came up behind me and you're like, "You want me to spot for you?" And I was like, "Please," because I was there by myself. I was like, I still didn't have good natural point of aim and being able to watch my impacts. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And you're like, "I'll spot for you." And so you like stood behind me and you spotted, and you're like, "You're dead on that one. Go to the next one." So I dialed, and you're like, "All right, you need to come up like 0.3. Anyway, you helped me true the data, and it helped tremendously. But y'all are always very helpful. Fun to hang out with, but also very helpful out there for those of us newbies that have no clue what we're doing.
We try.
Eric said he was there. It was such a fun match.
Yeah, that was, oh Lord, I got stuck in the mud. I didn't know anybody. That match, I didn't know anybody. It was interesting. I made some friends, but that was my first big girl match by myself, trying to muddle through. We won't talk about the scoring. And then it rained. You remember that match? It rained, and like we were laying in mud puddles prone, and it was like 33 degrees. The only reason I know that is because it was freezing, but it wasn't snowing. So it wasn't 32. It had to be 33, but it was miserable.
That's why I don't remember that match. I blocked it out.
Yeah, it was something. But a bunch of people quit after day 1, and I didn't quit. I came back for day 2, so that's okay. I felt like that was an accomplishment. But
Feel you there in the rain. Greg was asking for pictures of Tyler and I, something that, us together, and I sent him a picture of Tyler and I miserable in the rain at the NPA spring match this year. We were frustrated because the whole firing line and the awning was covered, and we're just like, screw it, we got rain gear, we'll just stand out here and get rain. But we were very happy, as Greg said, I think.
Yeah. In our embroidered rain jacket.
2 unhappier looking faces in my life.
Well, we've recently purchased new quality rain gear, so we won't have to stand out there with rain gear so far. So
Quality rain gear is priceless.
it is. It is
a must for the Precision Rain series for sure.
Yeah.
I would say like my first 4 matches in a row it poured at some point in time. It was super fun. Q wants to know if you guys are going to shoot the night match in Arena at Arena in November.
So I saw his post recently. He's been trying to get me to come shoot that. Was it Showdown After Sundown or something like that? I forget. So depending on my schedule, I would definitely like to come out there. It's a little closer than South Florida this time, so I would like to. So I will get in touch with you either today or tomorrow. Actually, get some details.
Awesome. So you guys both bust out the gas guns a lot. What draws you guys to this aspect of the sport?
They're fast.
I know why Tyler likes it, because he can go fast.
And for me, anyways, it's a lot more applicable to our other job, which is, bringing lethality to other soldiers. So I like to stay as proficient as possible with the gas gun, because more than likely the guys we're working with are going to be shooting gas guns or semi-automatic something, or have two. But yeah, the majority of our training is with semi-automatic weapons. So I place a lot of emphasis on that because it is so practical.
The last time I picked up an AR and shot it just for fun, I like pulled the trigger and I was like, oh, there's not a bolt. Like, it's just such a habit to pull the trigger and run the bolt. And I was like so confused.
Yeah, gas guns are fun. I don't know. I've always enjoyed shooting them, and then watching Tyler run a gas gun, and everywhere I go, it's like they're like, "Who are you?" We know Tyler. Who are you? And I'm like, I'm just a guy trying to catch up to him, and like, so we got a chance to shoot some gas gun matches together in the last couple of years. And it's like I'm always chasing him. I'm like, if I can just do half as well as he does with a gas gun, I will be more proficient than probably most people out there. So. And with that, I've learned a lot, how to be more efficient in the bolt gun series, and give me more time to shoot because I can get in position a lot faster and quicker. And so it's just fun. And then, as far as technology goes, that's kind of what it is, semi-automatics, no matter how they're operated, are going to be the future in some form or fashion. And, all the stuff with the next gen weapon system and whatnot they're pushing, there's various things going to come out of that. I mean, we'll still have bolt guns for quite some time, but the gas guns are the way to go, and accurizing those. Our shop's doing a great job with that. I mean, Tyler's proof of that. He took is it second or third? I can't remember what he was tied for down at Altus at the AI Classic this year with a gas gun and factory ammo. I mean, that's something to say for his abilities as well as our gunsmiths to put together a gun capable of stuff like that. So it's pretty wild to watch.
If you had your preference, if you were not an AMU shooter, you could shoot whatever you wanted to shoot. Which I want to ask both of you, which would you shoot? What would be your go-to, bolt or gas?
Gas.
Yeah, gas.
You too, Scott? Both want the gas gun.
Yeah, just something about it. Just, I don't know, just appealing. Plus, it's always good, when you whip out a gas gun and whip up on somebody with a bolt gun. So.
Mhm.
What caliber do y'all shoot in gas? 308?
6mm Creedmoor currently.
Yeah. A lot of different ones though as well. I mean, 6.5, 6 mil, 260, 308, 223. Depends on what we're doing.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Scott, Eric wants to know if you're going to run a gas gun at Mammoth.
I will not be. I thought about it. I'm going to run a bolt gun for Mammoth. I got my carbon fiber barrel in here and mounted it up and broke it in this weekend up at Pig River. And but I'm going to run a gas gun for the Vortex Sniper Comp out at Coleman's Creek there in February. So I'll be my partner and I, we're going to run gas guns. So I'll be running 223 gas gun for that.
Nice. So Neil wants to know, what are the qualifications to get into the AMU, both while you're enlisted or if someone's trying to enlist to go straight AMU?
Scott?
How did I know he was going to answer that question? Kind of, there's a lot more to it than I can tell you, but to sum it up, if you're say not in the service looking to compete, you have to meet age requirement, and that varies between the different business rules of the Army. So typically, 35 to 37 or under, no crazy things like felonies and whatnot. And that's just general eligibility of the military. Beyond that, we look for a strong competition background. We can do this. This is a amazing privilege for us to be able to do this for a career. So you have the potential to come to the USAMU for 20 years. With that, we're pretty strict on, vetting people, looking up, we want to meet them. We want to bring them out shooting, even if we've known them for years. We want to bring them and meet the team. Spend a few days with the guys and we'll do kind of a character survey, but, having like a master or a grandmaster in USPSA, some top 10, top 5 PRS and 3-gun finishes, strong percentages, because typically what we're looking at across the board is about a 90 percentile on a practice score. So if you're 90 percentile or above in the or 85 to 90 percentile or above in like USPSA 3-gun, in any division that is a strong competitive vision. That's what we're looking for. You know, we get contacts of guys like, hey, I qualified expert, you know, 3 times and stuff like that. Not taking away from that, that is amazing. But just to put it out there, you know, we're looking for a little bit more. If you can show us some competition experience and background, or even if you're local to Fort Benning, Georgia, and that's your experience, but you're just one of those people that's naturally gifted, or maybe you're a world champion archer or something like that. I mean, we've hired a guy on one of our teams that never fired a gun for the Army Marksmanship. We had national and international records as a college student with archery, and it's sight alignment, you know. And he comes out and he was the first person to ever shoot a perfect score in C&P service rifle. So there's a lot of cool stuff that can come from different disciplines. I would never say turn anybody away from contacting us. So, you know, reach out to the USAMU's Facebook page, or Google them on the internet, depending on the discipline. Shoot a message to them if you're interested, and we can go from there. And I can give you some guidance if you're just one of those people that's naturally competitive and naturally gifted in certain things, and you have the drive. Who knows, in a couple of years, you know, we might be looking for something like that. Outside of that, we also kind of keep an eye out on the shooters that are currently out there in different disciplines, you know, the younger guys, because I've got a little over 2.5 years left before I retire. So, you know, I'm out there looking for, you know, my potential replacement, you know, whether they be a current service member, maybe it's Tyler, who knows, you know. I know he'd love to take over my job and deal with all kinds of administrative tasks.
Yeah, that's me, computer guy.
You know, we actually just hired a new shooter for our precision rifle team. There's been a lot of memes out there about him. A lot of people laugh and joke about him. He's a phenomenal dude, phenomenal shooter. He's been at it for maybe 1.5 years at that, and he's already out there kicking some butt. He's currently a staff sergeant at Fort Hood. His name's Cale Harmon, and we're looking forward to picking him up in December, right after a finale. So, and hoping he's going to do some great things. He's going to take my spot as an open shooter, and I'll bump down to TAC division. Then Tyler can run a gas gun, and Cale can run open, and I'll run TAC, and maybe the goal is to take 1, 2, and 3. You know, with me being first, obviously.
Obviously. So Prentice Wink said hey to everybody, and he wants to know if he qualifies for the AMU.
Nope.
No, Prentice and I have had this conversation about 17 times.
Only 17.
That was just last week.
He
He probably said something
7
about calling me as well.
Yeah, he tags us about 17 times every week. So
He's a great guy, and actually, I reached out to him months ago. I mean, earlier this year, and was like, "Hey, man, would you randomly know? You know, all serious, you know, all jokes aside, we're always cutting up. Would you know anybody out there that'd be, you know, that's a service member in your area in Texas that's worth looking at?" And he's the one that mentioned Staff Sergeant Harmon, and so we've kind of got in touch, and we're looking at, you know, he's the reason we found out about him, honestly, as early as we did. So I'm glad we did. If not, he might be a drill sergeant somewhere. So we snagged him up while we could.
That's awesome. Let's see.
so go ahead.
I was just checking for more lives, but we're good.
So we talked about gas guns a little bit and kind of why y'all like them, but what advantages do you see to them in, like, it becomes a big debate of the accuracy, and I know Tyler kind of disproves it. So do you think bolt guns are more accurate than the gas guns?
I would say they're both capable of the same amount of accuracy. The gas gun is just a little bit more temperamental, a little bit more difficult to shoot, to stay consistent for every shot. Bolt gun might have an edge on accuracy, though.
A little bit of an edge, maybe. So someone in the comments asked about what your thoughts are along the gas gun line. What are your thoughts on the FN SCAR, both as a battle weapon and accuracy wise for like the gas gun series?
I've shot really good scars and I've shot really bad scars. So just like everything else, it's dependent on the gun, the barrel, the ammo, the combination of the three. They're extremely reliable weapons in my limited exposure to them. I haven't put a ton of time behind them, but I have shot them. Yeah, really reliable guns. The recoil is, I wouldn't call it advantageous for the
So Scott
gas
wouldn't
gun.
like it.
What?
So Scott wouldn't like it.
No, I'm afraid of recoil. Yeah.
Recoil scary. So you guys shoot a ton of different matches out there. What would you each say your favorite match is and why?
Ooh, we talking like discipline or specific match?
So a specific match, but it could be of any discipline.
Ooh, well, since we shoot across, I guess almost like you could say a couple of different disciplines. Let's see, I've only been shooting realistically about 18 months. I would say the most fun I had last year shooting a PRS match was the Barrel Maker up in Wisconsin. Drove up there by myself. Tyler was out shooting a Wyoming Governor's Cup for 3-gun, and didn't know, 99% of the people there. Got squatted with some guys I did know, Tom Fuller and Shannon Kay, a few others, and got to meet Ken and Misty up there. And I had an amazing time. That was probably the most fun match I've had so far. I thought it was extremely well ran. The stages were well thought out. They were both challenging. They made me think. They put some hiccups in there, and then on day 2 we had a storm roll in. So, maybe why I'm a little partial to that match is they cut all the times down to 75 seconds on day 2. So I was like, ooh, I get to go fast. There might be some people out there that could shoot better than me in the 76 and above seconds, but I was able to move up a few spots on day 2 in the 75 and below category. And so that, and then just Ken and that mustache, man, had me going. Gas gun, we shoot some of the quantified performance stuff down here at Arena. They're looking at different places to go. That's really like the only precision gas gun matches I've shot. But shout out to those guys. I mean, that's been a super fun series. You get to go fast. Some of the stages are unlimited. Some stages are limited round count. But it really tests on kind of your abilities to be able to position, get around on target, and be the fastest guy out there, which normally Tyler. But I try to hold my own. And then we picked up some of the NRL Hunter series this year. And that's been just a phenomenal series in general. Just the thought behind it, shooting some blind stages, under time, find and range them and shoot them on the clock, kind of like Mammoth, in the other sniper series, the Vortex sniper series and stuff. Brings back a lot of applicability to what we teach. So as soon as we saw that pop up, I think in December, we were like, man, we've got to shoot some of these. One, it'll help us for training, both ourselves and the guys we work with. And then it's got to be fun, right? Tyler loves hunting, so he gets to shoot animals. This time they're just static and made out of metal. But yeah, I'd say those are my 3 favorite things so far.
Tyler?
So for the PRS, I would say any match down at Altus is probably my favorite. I love shooting their matches down there. Usually you kind of got to go fast, reasonable targets, so you're not just feeling down on yourself the whole weekend. The weekend in the arena matches, the quantified performance gas gun stuff is a lot of fun. It's the closest thing we got to the old PRS gas gun series, so I really enjoy that. And the NRL stuff has been probably my favorite new thing in a while. It's a lot of fun, very practical.
What's your favorite genre? 3-gun or PRS?
Nope. Not deciding between them. They're both awesome.
You love them both equally, huh?
Yeah, and hate them both equally at the same time.
Heavy guns are dumb.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's hilarious. Scott, what's your favorite genre? You've done some different ones.
Oh man, they just, I don't know, just anything a team match, I think. Whether, even when I was shooting service rifle stuff in Palma, just the team matches where, you got to come together and put all of you got to show up on that given day or given days and give 110%. It really tests not only you and your ability to deal with some pressure, but the people around you and for you to keep them kind of going. I don't care what kind of competition it is. It could be badminton. If you're competitive, you're going to give your all if you're on a team, I think. And so I'd say anything team match related. I've shot a few team matches. I'm shooting Mammoth in January, and looking forward to seeing how that goes after working it for a few years and getting to watch everybody else have all the fun and hate life at the same time. So I know Tyler spent several years doing that at Mammoth, so maybe I can follow in his footsteps and take a win home. We'll see.
So y'all are both good instructors. We talked earlier about how y'all teach. If you were both only allowed to choose one thing to teach a new shooter, what would it be?
I think it's a very overlooked thing, and a lot of people want all the sexy answers and stuff like that. But just setting up the rifle to fit you, like if you can't do that correctly, then it just compounds error after error over everything. I'm real big at being, having length of pull set, having eye relief set, where I can shoot it through all positions, things like that, down to, different, depending on what chassis or stock you're using, flipping over the butt plate, adjusting it higher in your shoulder just to get that perfect fit. A lot of people kind of just want to shoot it as how they bought it. They look at somebody else, they mount it, and they say their scope's way too close, goes too far. So just setting up the rifle to me, and getting it correct to fit you is not only the first step, but such a crucial step in my mind now to just get started.
I agree. I'll never forget when I first started and actually went to that LRSE match, and Phil Vallejo saw me. He watched me shoot something on the barricade, and he knew I was struggling, and he was like, need some help. Anyway, so he kind of worked with me on natural point of aim because I did not have that. And so when I got behind the rifle, right, I was like, well, now I can't see through the scope. And he's like, move the scope. Like, don't just like get your head where you could, like, get where you should be and then move the scope to you. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did, and it was much better. But I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize how important it is. So, I mean, all joking aside, that's huge to be able to get, right behind the gun and just fall into place, and you're at, you have the eye relief and everything, how you need it.
Yeah. I mean, definitely from just looking at, a military training standpoint, so many years people had like fixed stocks, fixed length butt stocks and stuff, whether it be, the 5'1" female serving or the 6'5", tall infantryman. Everybody was made differently, but they were given this rifle that was a one size fits all that, many of us have learned since then is not the case, and that's why there's been a lot of transition and retrofitting with adjustable butt stocks and things like that. And then on top of that, you're given, a fixed eye relief scope that isn't adjustable or variable or anything. So it just compounded errors over the years that you saw, just in our wheelhouse, issues with qualification. Some could shoot better than others, and sometimes it wasn't due to a lack of skill or anything. It was just because, you've got that, vertically challenged person, short straw here, that just couldn't get up behind the rifle correctly. And, once you were able to fit that gun to that person, their scores would go up, and just general proficiency. They wouldn't fight the gun. They wouldn't be tired of it. And having instructed, quite a bit over the years. And I know Tyler, I've talked about it. Like, that's kind of the first thing sometimes you'll notice. You'll just walk past the gun and you're like, okay, whose is that? And then you're like, you see the person pick it up and you're like, okay, you just know that doesn't fit them. And then sometimes we'll kind of walk over and strike up conversation and be like, hey man, or hey, excuse me, ma'am, is that yours? Who, are you new? Would you set it up, and just kind of go from there? And a lot of times you find out like they're very grateful, to get some help. And they just didn't know, it was their first match, or maybe their buddy had been shooting a couple matches or something like that and got them into it. And that person didn't know. And then it just kind of spirals out to, you know, hey, maybe these, you know, you got any other tips for us, you know, and we get messages, I know, texts and phone calls and Facebook messages. Hey, can you help me set this up? Can you help me set that up? You know, and then sometimes they go out and that pushes them to go get some formal instruction from all the great instructors out there, pushing out great info. So, you know, that and getting good training, I think good setup, good training is invaluable.
Tyler?
I would probably teach target acquisition, like finding the target in your scope, because you see people just get sucked in and they won't break the face off the gun. They will not pick their head up just to look over the top of their scope. They'll search for 90 seconds trying to find that target, playing around with the power, and never pick their head up one time. So big one for me. Yeah, just like that. Put my muzzle on the target, bring my head down until my turret's in line with my muzzle on the target. And then by the time my face hits the stock, the target should be in the field of view. It's a lot easier to teach in person, but that's a big one that I see a lot of people timing out on at all kinds of different stages.
Let's say I totally agree with both of you guys. Both of those are things that I see people struggle with a lot at my little local match that I run. And, you know, and there are also two things that I learned when I got into PRS. You know, I didn't know all the tricks for setting up a rifle. I didn't know like how easy it is to like, you know, I'm pointing a gun at you guys, be like, oh, look, there's the target. And you look through there and look, there's the target. You know, it's a really simple thing after you learn it, but until you do, it's just like, you know, you zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. Is that it?
Well, and people that haven't shot probably hear that and they're like, well, duh, how stupid. But the number of people that was one of the things that I remember the first match that it all fell together and I could fall into the target was in the scope as I came down on it. And the number of people that struggle with that, like it sounds like it'd be so simple, but it's really not to beginners. So
yeah,
it's funny that, you know, like you said, they get sucked in and don't want to lift their head up, but they're also the same person that every time they run the bolt, they gotta like lift their head and break their shoulder off the gun, you know. And it's a lot. I picked a lot of that up from Tyler as far as being efficient, getting on target, you know, finding a reference point downrange, tall tree, a placard, rock, whatever it may be, and, you know, and as you're moving into position, kind of glancing at that, pointing the gun toward it, bring it down, and just following everything down. It's great. You could be on max power, and, you know, you practice that a little bit. You'd be surprised at even the closer ranges, you're dead on target almost. It's like, wow, man, like, and then it's like, why isn't everyone else doing that? You try to tell them that, and like you said, do it over here versus doing it in person. They just kind of get lost. Like, yeah, I'm doing that, and then you show them a video of them not doing it, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah. So
well, and the ones that have a wide field of view where you're, you know, this direction, and then you have to, well, like Wyoming is a good match and a good example of that. I don't know if y'all shot it, but yeah, y'all were there last year, right? I think. Anyway, it was like all sagebrush, and we had like target over here and target over here. So you watching people just stay in their scope the whole time, you know, instead of like finding a target, shooting it, coming off, finding the target, putting the gun there, and then going back down.
oh yeah,
A lot.
yeah. The finale was big on that in the snow. You know, just kind of being lost in the snow. You saw a lot of people hunting and pecking. I even got sucked into it on a stage. You know, it was real hard to see some shot up targets that are gray and white snow. But yeah. And then I had to finish my last stage, the finale, with someone else's bag because Justin Watts decided to run over my game changer and make it explode. So.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. That's awful.
That was a comical match for me. It wasn't my most fun match, but it was a comical match.
I actually shot pretty well, but that second day, the very last stage, it was like the blizzard came in and we couldn't see like anything on that last stage. And my bolt actually froze open. Like I had gotten ready to shoot, so I had taken my cover off, my rain cover off, and it's sitting there. And then we were disputing whether or not we could see it. And they called Justin over and looking, and there was one of the targets you couldn't see at all. He's like, skip that one and hit this one twice, because they were like right next to each other. There was no difference in yardage or size. And it was so bad, so whited out. And so by the time we, dicked around talking about it that whole time, I picked the gun up and they say engage, and I lay the gun down and I get behind the gun and I go to close the bolt and it would not close. And I finally had to come off the gun and punch it because it was like frozen open. That was an interesting match. I've never had that happen, but never shot in the snow. It was kind of cool. The snow was actually very helpful for wind direction.
That's about all it was helpful for.
Didn't you also come home with a broken bag?
Yeah, I tore my bag on the helicopter. We shot the helicopter stage, and my bag had sand in it, not the bead stuff that had sand. And I go to the next stage and I'm like, why is there sand everywhere? Oh my gosh, I had a gash like that long. So I had to use Gina's bag for the rest of the match because mine had a huge hole in it. I sewed it back up later.
You'll have that on the big jobs.
Yep.
Happens.
So what other matches and events do you guys have planned for the rest of the season?
What do we have? Let's see. I'm sorry, go ahead.
The Fall Classic down at Altus, the finale.
Gas gun.
Yeah, I'll be in Wyoming for that, so I won't be able to shoot that.
Yeah, I may try to make it over to another match at some point. I don't know which one. I got to look at my schedule, but yeah, the Fall Classic down at Altus, always a great time down there. I probably will not make the finale this year. I got a school I'm trying to go to, and then I'll be shooting a gas gun match at Arena with the weekend at Arena for the Quantified Performance guys. Be heading down there. Me and I think one of our 3 gun guys is going to attend in Tyler's spot since he's going to kill stuff.
Tyler, you're going to be at Precision Rifle Expo again?
Nope, won't be there. Sorry.
Well, dang.
Huh?
Said, well, dang.
I might be there, but I won't be doing anything. I won't be working or anything.
Gotcha. I'll be there, hopefully learning and making videos and talking to people and shooting stuff, and yeah, just having a good time.
That's my goal if I go. Catch up with everybody.
I'll be down there. I gotta make my presence known, and everybody knows I'm a talker, so I'm gonna get down there and talk to everybody.
You're a talker?
No, Scott talking? Ever.
Works out really good though, being on his team. Like, people come over and want to talk to us, and Scott talks, and I just sit there. It's perfect.
Yeah, Tyler's not a man of many words usually.
Yeah, it's I can head them off when Tyler's focused, and I can just become unfocused and then complain to him later about how I was unfocused because I had to talk to all these people. But no, I mean, doing that, I've met a lot of great people, man. A lot of great people out there throughout the industry and just shooters in general, and made some pretty good friends. Met you guys, talking anything, just talking about life too, joking around at cold, rainy days at Mammoth, joking around about 3D printing and talking stuff and whatnot. So yeah, a lot of good people out there. Look forward to seeing them all.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the funner parts of this sport. I'm like not an overly social butterfly whatsoever, but like everybody that shoots with us is just so cool,
Yeah.
Great people. Are there any more lives, Greg?
I believe we are good for the lives.
All right. I think we can wind it down to shout outs then.
All right.
We usually start with you, Greg. Go for it.
All right, so we will start off with GSL suppressors. This cool little thingy right here on the end of my 22 that makes the bullet hitting the target louder than the gun going boom. It's awesome. Shooters and Sharpshooters of Augusta, our local indoor and outdoor ranges here. PDC Custom, the most beautiful rifle chassis known to man, available in lime green and normal human colors. Shooter's World Powder, you can still find it. It's not extinct like Varget or 4350. I take that back. There was a 8-pound thing of 4350 at the local gun show 2 weekends ago. It was only $390. So, you know, Hunter's HD Gold. I'm blind as a bat, but not as blind as Jennifer. So they help me see stuff while I'm out there shooting. It really does add some good contrast out to the targets. Fix It 6. Do I have those someplace? These things are awesome. They work great for guns. Also, if your washing machine floods your house and you pull it out and go to take apart the back of it and realize you just pulled a washing machine in front of the door to your garage, you can use your Fix It 6 to take apart your washing machine and fix it. And Vortec to clean these dirty things back here.
What y'all got for shout outs, Tyler?
Hey,
You can at least shout me out.
Hey, Scott.
Shout out your partner, your wife.
Oh man.
Well, my wife's right there trying to go to sleep. So
you say your awesome wife that tolerates you shooting all the time, the AMU for facilitating it.
yeah, those guys, all the gunsmiths, all the guys that load our ammo, they're awesome. Couldn't without them. Is that good enough?
That is perfect.
Yeah.
That was a lot of words for you, Tyler. I'm proud.
It was hard. Throw it there.
So, yeah, I mean, we got, you know, Stephanie Payne, Tyler's wife. You know, I got to give her a shout out to letting him come along and party it up with me at a match. Sitting in the desert, getting sunburned. Definitely our support guys at the unit. Gossett and all the gunsmiths and everyone giving us amazing equipment. And if an issue ever does arise, they're right there to fix it. Whether it be a phone call or take it to them in person, or they come out to us. Ammo, we got phenomenal stuff there. Phenomenal support from our commanding officer on down. Always pushing us, always involved and getting involved with just day-to-day lives or even competition stuff. And then hell, the Army for allowing us to do this. There's over 150 jobs in the Army that are out there for everyone to do. If you're eligible, and we signed up for infantry, and here we are getting to shoot guns for a living. Like literally, a lot of people think, oh, infantrymen, they only shoot guns for a living. They get to do and have to do a lot of more involved tasks, and us at the AMU get to spend the majority of our time outside of online trainings and making sure everything else goes round and round. We get to shoot guns primarily, and then teach awesome people how to shoot guns, whether it be a young civilian junior shooter, or young gun, or other military services, our branch in the Army, special forces operators and things like that. It's been pretty awesome to have that breadth of people to teach to. So, and then my wife and kids for putting up with me gone for 150 plus days a year, it seems like, so over the past decade. So
See, this is what I was talking about. It's really good to have Scott on the team because he catches everything that I don't say. Because I meant all that stuff too. I just, it didn't come out.
He's your interpreter.
Yeah.
I read his body language.
It's like you're Chewbacca and you just go, oh, and then he translates everything you just said.
Yep. It's perfect.
Scott, next time we have you guys on the show, we're going to work together to write Tyler's script.
Hey,
I would like to thank.
Yeah.
Hey, man, a few words and awesome with a gun. What can you say? I mean, he's one of the most accomplished shooters that I've ever met. Him and his former shooting partner Dan Horner. So there's a lot to look up to there, and just he don't have to say much. He just proves it with a gun.
I was about to say there's a lot to be said for letting your shooting do the talking instead of your mouth, because there's a lot of people that their mouth does the talking.
Like they say, run your gun, not your mouth.
Well,
I just run my mouth.
So now that we've established that out of this partnership, you run the mouth and he runs the gun, right?
Yeah. Unless it's a text message of him talking crap to me.
There you go. All right. Well, I just want to thank y'all both for coming on and spending an hour and a half of your night with us. I know we have cut into Tyler's hunting time.
Nah, it's all right.
But thank y'all for coming on, and thank y'all for your service to our country and everything that you do. We do appreciate y'all helping teach all of the teaching that I know y'all do a lot of that. So thank y'all for all that y'all do. And y'all are always fun to see at a match. So hopefully we'll see it one this year. I haven't done much shooting this year, but I'll get back to it eventually and see y'all out there. But with that, that will be a wrap for episode 346. We'll see y'all
Thanks,
next week.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.